Hey folks, good evening and welcome to The View for the review of Leeds United's second away win on the bounce for the first time this year at Derby County. A 1-0 win in a scrappy game, but I'm delighted to be joined by Andrew Stats Dalton and Lucky Leeds to talk about the game in a bit more detail. And first things first, just to check in with lads. Stats, how are you, mate? How has your Christmas been so far?
Yes, but it's been good. It's always helps that you come back with 6 points over the festive period, looking to make it 9.
Just bring your mic a bit closer to your mouth, Stats, if you can. Sorry, just a little bit.
Looking to make it 9 on Wednesdays. I've lost track of days. So yeah, it's kind of been and gone, hasn't it? Christmas always does, but been well fed and very much looking forward to the new year and hopefully a promotion winning year in 2025.
Yeah, let's hope we finish 2024 or midway through 2025 with a trophy in our hands. Lockie, how are you doing, mate? How's your Christmas been?
Yeah, quiet one this year, Joe. Nice little quiet one with my girlfriend. You know, we watched some TV shows and ate some food as everyone did. So it was quite nice. And no, we shouldn't because we're fully grown adults, but it's nice when Leeds win during that period. Makes her a little more merrier, doesn't it? We win.
Ruined last Christmas, Lockie. Ruined last Christmas. Driving home from Galway last Christmas after Leeds getting beaten by Preston away, you know. So yeah, but it's there's some stuff to get stuck into. I wanted to talk about. It is a quality panel, two of the best lining up tonight. So yeah, it is a really good panel for the guys, and I appreciate them coming on. So thanks to the lads. Lockie, start with you, mate. I want to talk about the style of football we saw, and not in a negative way. Very much a needs must kind of win against a scrappy, fighty Derby in a bit of a game that became a bit of a kicking match at times. Derby liking to leave the foot in, a couple of off-the-ball incidents. Referee didn't really get hold of it. But Leeds found a way to win. And we talked earlier in the season with the away record that the style of football doesn't matter if you can find a way to win. It only really matters when you don't find a way to win. But Leeds, for only the first time this year, putting 2 away wins on the bounce back-to-back. And was probably 2 tricky games, Lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are the games we've struggled with in the last 2 years, probably. Any football side we're usually very good at. We'll beat you, we'll score more goals than you. You know, we've just got the quality. But when teams come in and they play dirty, and look, I'm not against that. I get it. I've been part of teams where when you're inferior, that's what you got to do. You got to boot them. You got to let them know this is the type of game it's going to be. I don't think Derby for that at all. I'd do exactly the same if I'm coming up against these players. But these are the games we struggle with usually. But honestly, Ethan Ampadu back in there, just really, I loved it. Every time he got booted, he'd stand up and he'd talk to me, say, "Why'd you do that? What you booting me for?" and all this stuff. But I don't feel we have. I think we have very nice lads, and Ampadu is a nice lad. But I'm glad we're seeing this side of him now, because he's always had it. You know, he used to play in lower leagues when he was a young lad, didn't he? Or he came up in around, was it Exeter, I believe he came through. He knows what it's like to be a young lad getting booted every week. So yeah, it's good to have him back, Jay. Honestly, that was probably my biggest outcome of this one and the last few now. Having Ampadu back in there, that steel in that midfield that we've hugely been missing. Obviously, with Tanaka and Rothwell, you've got 2 extremely talented players. But having Ampadu back in there, I just feel more secure. I feel better. And long may it continue because he's a key player for us. He was last year. He was vital for Leeds United last year. Probably the best 6 in the league. I think that's obvious. So good to have him back, Jay, and it helps us. I think we're a better team with him there.
Yeah, and it looks like that on paper as well. I was looking at some of the stuff that LUFC Data put out today and some of Stats own stuff that he was putting out yesterday over the course after the game as well. And it was a very different looking Leeds midfield. And I did a watch along over in Big Up, and I think I said halfway through the first half, it's a different midfield. Knack is very deep. Ampadu is very deep, and Brendan Aronson's having to come really deep to get involved in the game. But that possibly even created some space in behind because they had to come with them, and they did, which gave us a little bit of space. But if you look at Ampadu's numbers, stats, and you like stats, so I thought I'd give you these. He won the most duels in that game with 14 out of both sides. He had the most recoveries, 7 out of both sides. And he had the most completed passes into the final third, even though he was deep with 20. And that was more than any Leeds or Derby player in that game. So he comes back in. He's not fully fit. He's had a couple of games. And he puts in numbers like that. And the big thing, the reason I think Farke went with that pairing was Leeds have been leaky on counterattacks away from home. And in the last 2 games, 2 0s. And it's not a coincidence that Ethan Ampadu sitting in that defensive midfield position.
And I think it shows that if you turn the clock back 12 months to this period exactly when we went to Preston on Boxing Day last year, got beat 2-1 and got beat 1-0 at West Bromwich Albion on the 29th, exactly sort of the same time of year, they kind of roughed us up. Ilya obviously got sent off against Preston on Boxing Day last time out, or last year, should I say. This time, I think the players have learned from it. I think Daniel Farke has learned from it. They're more mature players. They've learned a lot from the past 12 months, and it was kind of the game that I expected, that I kind of said on the preview show a couple of days ago. It'll be a tight, niggly, horrible game. It always is at Derby County. Down the years, you've seen us rough them up, obviously, like with, I know it's different era, but the likes of Norman Hunter and Franny Lee, etc. And I thought Leeds ground it out, and sometimes, especially in this league, you go in ugly, and I think that's what Leeds did last night. And it's 3 points. We've won 3 in a row for the first time this season. We're looking to carry on good form on New Year's Day against Blackburn Rovers and really create a little bit of a gap in the Championship. Sheffield United go to Sunderland. I know we'll talk a bit more about that ahead of the preview to the Blackburn game. But yeah, I think it was probably the perfect away game, really, for Leeds. That Daniel kind of said in pre-match that the players didn't get into bed until 3 a.m. After the Stoke game, so they did have to just rotate a little bit, and it worked for me. He brought the subs on. Piru had a brilliant part to play in the goal, and it was pass, and we kind of passed them to death a little bit, and we got the deserved victory. And yeah, I think it's excellent going away from home and winning back-to-back away games for only the second time this season.
Yeah, I completely agree. The passing move for the goal was sensational. It was beautiful watching that. But Lockie, what did you think about the midfield partnership, and what do you feel about Tanaka's role in this? Because a pretty quiet game by his own standards, and I think there might have been just a little bit of misunderstanding about who sits, who starts the moves coming out from the back. Because usually it's Tanaka taking the ball off the centre backs, but it was Ampadu, and when you looked, Tanaka was kind of level with him, but over towards the left, and Sam Byram was the furthest player forward on the park. So it was a strange looking midfield system.
Yeah, and the game where Rothwell and Ampadu were in there, for the first 15 minutes, Ampadu goes into his space 2 or 3 times. Rothwell's a little, what do I do? So Rothwell goes wider, and then the fullback goes really high, and then we create some good triangles. And I think this was similar, Joe, to be honest. I think it's one of them things. They've only not really played with him, have they? Apart from maybe a few minutes before he got injured. So it's a new partnership. It's new, where do you go? Where do I go? Where's my position? And it'll take both of them, whoever it is in there, 2 or 3 weeks to get used to that. But Ampadu's the dominant player in there. He's the captain. He's the main guy in this team. Where he is, you're not. Let him go where he is and you play around him. That's kind of the vibe I think we need to go for. But yeah, I just think now that he's there, I think it's took a bit of responsibility off Tanaka. He was that guy in there that was making the moves. Now Tanaka's, I haven't seen the stats for it, but I'm assuming he had less touches potentially in the game. Might be wrong, but just from the eye, just from what I visualised, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But just felt like every single move we had didn't have to come through Tanaka because we had Ampadu there who was doing that. Like you said, the passing in the final third. He's now doing it. So Tanaka's kind of finding that slightly higher role in there. Where can I be effective? And it'll be the same for Rothwell as well. But I like it because what it does is both fullbacks were getting really high, which we usually see one or the other, but both were getting really high. And I love to see that because we saw the combination for the goal. Sam Byram involved in that, really high fullbacks, and Bogle again, when he gets high, he's an absolute joke, isn't it? No one can really stop him. So it's a different dynamic, but it kind of makes us more attacking because we allow 2 fullbacks. So you've kind of got 6 attacking at all times, which is, like we've seen, it's devastating, and we're better finishing. We could have scored 3 or 4 clear chances in that game. We could have gone 3 or 4 up. So yeah, different dynamics, but something that's I'm absolutely fine with, and it will take Rothwell and Tanaka 2 or 3 weeks just to really understand Ampadu's role in there, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I think it's a busy time of the year, and it's really good that we've been able to rotate this year, where last year he didn't trust the squad, he didn't trust the bench that he had last year. So it's great to be able to see that. Byron just saying final third is our weakness. I'm still not quite happy up top. And it's an interesting point, Byron. I get your point from the eye test, but when you look at the numbers, Leeds are the highest scorers in this division by a considerable margin. And they've the 3rd best defensive record in the league, given the wobbly start that we had, conceding 6 goals inside the first 5 games or something like that. So massive improvement up there. But it is a valid point, stats. If you look at the XG for the game yesterday, look at the big chances. Leeds created 5 big chances yesterday, took 1 of them, missed 4. Dan James 1-on-1 probably came to him a little bit too early after coming on, but you would expect him to score that. And there is still an area of just being a little bit more clinical when those chances come, because 5 big chances and an XG of nearly 3 in that game, we win 1-0 away from home. Great to get the win, we still need to be watching those things and make sure that they don't become a problem.
Yeah, I think we would all have liked to have had a 3-0 victory away from home last night and to relax us all a little bit. And maybe so, but we're doing all right. He's rotating Pirro and Mateo Joseph all the time, and you can't really criticise because of where we are in the league. I think we scored 44 goals in the league this season, which is the best in the championship. Got the best goal difference record. Got the least amount of goals conceded. So it's all working. It's a team game, and I think the difference this year is the goals are coming from all over the place. And like Brendan's got 7 this season, so which is fantastic. And I think, as Joe Donahue alluded to on X this morning, he didn't have on his bingo card at the start of August. So yeah, all goes well for the second half of the season, and then for the running sort of after March time, the international break. And there's different types of victories. Like I thought against Stoke on Boxing were very good, and apart from the effort in the first minute that Ilham LA got down well to save, it was quite comfortable. Last night was a bit of rough and at you kind of victory where Derby tried to trip us up a little bit, but I always felt we would score that goal, and I sort of said that on X last night, that the goal would come, and the way it came was beautiful. And yeah, it's all very pleasing at the moment. It'll be interesting to see what he does with his team lineup on Wednesday afternoon, with the sort of that, and then the Hull City game next Saturday in mind before a break before the Harrogate game. But you've got to win ugly in this league, and that's a sign of champions for me, that there's different types of ways to win the game. You're not going to blow teams off the park every week, and they went to Derby, hostile environment, as we all know, the historics there with Frank Lampard and what have you, but I thought they deserved the victory, and on it goes, and on to 2025 all being well.
Yeah, the comments about Mateo Joseph, I didn't think he had a bad game,
No.
and I don't remember any clear opportunities that we created for him. So I think people are very quick just to criticize Joseph because he hasn't scored, but he did a lot of really good hold to play. He linked the play really well. He ran the channels. He pressed. He worked really hard yesterday, and he had to come again because of that midfield being a lot deeper than it has been. Lucky, he had to come all the way in with Aronson to try and even get involved in the game, especially in the first half. And I didn't think he did a huge amount wrong. I thought he worked them quite well, and as you can probably tell from the other wingers as well, when they went off, the other 3 that came on had very tired fullbacks and centre backs to come up against, and got the break with fresh legs. But I wasn't overly critical about what I saw from Mateo. What were your thoughts on the front?
Yeah, I think he's struggling a little bit of confidence, Mateo.
Yeah.
I don't think he's anything too deep. I think he's maybe trying too many things in the game as opposed to really focus on his role. Maybe going a bit rogue to try and get the ball, to try and be more into it. So then he finds himself in positions where he doesn't really know what the right decision is in that area. Little things like that. And he's 20 years old, 21. Of course he's going to do that. He's trying to impress. And I think he just needs to calm down a little bit in certain moments. You know what I mean? It's a confidence thing for me. Just really... He
smashes up a little bit first time, and that's usually an obvious sign of a little bit of trying too hard.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's trying too many things in the game where you just want him to focus on, make your runs, do this, do that. When you see Perot come on, he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows where he needs to be. He knows his role. Look, he's not going to do many things Mateo will, but he knows that, and we know that. Mateo's kind of trying to do a bit of everything, and I think he just needs to focus on occupying the centre-backs, winning that battle first, being a bully against them centre-backs, being aggressive against them, making them runs, and then in front of goal, just being calm, because he did snatch up, I think he had a one-on-one, didn't he? And he said the ball bobbled in front of him. Yeah, and he's not the only one. Ampadu, obviously, you mentioned that Ampadu missed an header from about 4 yards out. Ramazani had a chance, I believe. Can't remember off the top of my head. Bamford had one late on. There's a lot of... Aronson obviously scored, but he had the one earlier on. There's a lot of chance players in this team who just snatch a little bit in the final third, and we've still scored loads of goals, so you can't really complain, can you? But no, it could have been 2-0 and I'd have been more relaxed. So I could have complained instead of for the last 20 minutes of the game going, oh my God, any chance. But yeah, to summarise, Mateo, he's a young man. He's got growing pains. He needs to focus on the bits of his game that he needs to do and don't try too much. And I think he'll be fine. I'm glad we've got Perot in there that is coming on and making an impact. Otherwise, we probably would be struggling if Perot wasn't quite at that level. But he's got a bright future as Mateo Joseph. He just needs time and a bit of patience, I think, with him. Yeah, I completely agree. I want to move on and talk about some partnerships. So someone asked me here, I'll get the quote up. Did I take part in the All Leeds TV mid-season review? I did something with them last night. It's on their Spotify
the audio only. It's not on the YouTube channel. It's on the audio, just talking about the season today. I don't think there's anything on the half-season review. We are planning on doing a half-season review here. And also, just to let everyone know while you're here, we are doing a preview to the Blackburn game straight after this, but it's a separate stream. But myself and Stats will be here at 8 o'clock. So as soon as this finishes, we're going to change and come back on with the preview. Lockie's dropping off, and myself and Stats will do the Blackburn preview. So if you're hanging around for a couple of seconds after this one's finished, you'll see the thumbnail on the YouTube channel. Just click on that for the preview, and we'll be there about 8 o'clock on the button. But anyway, talking about partnerships, and that was one thing I did talk to All Leeds TV about last night, and that was how we're starting to see partnerships starting to click together. Like if you look at Stroke and Rodon yesterday, Stroke back to his best, looked like a Rolls Royce yesterday. Loved watching him playing yesterday. Bogle and Dan James on the right-hand side have this real fluid, very easy link-up play where they have a very good understanding. Dan, just base ahead of you. Go into it. Pop the ball in there. You look at the midfield too. We had Tanaka and Rotwell playing quite well together. That's a good partnership. That will take time then for Ampadu to form partnerships with one of them. But then Aronson and Piru as well, when they link up, like the third man run that Brendan Aronson does for the goal. He knows he's not getting that ball off Sam Byram, but makes the run into the space, gives Pirro something to think about, and gives him an angle for a pass. And it's 24 passes leading up to that goal. It was prime Bielsa stuff, as someone has already said in the comments. But we're starting to see these partnerships clicking into place. Now, the likes of Joseph and that, and maybe Willie Nunton, we'll talk about Willie in a bit, slightly on the periphery of that, not really forming those connections right now. But the rest of the team really looks like it's starting to click in these key areas.
Yeah, very much so. The goal was reminiscent of Pablo Hernandez against Stoke when we won 5-0 at Ellen Road in COVID times, and we just pass, and we kind of passed Derby to death with a goal. The movement off the ball is absolutely fantastic. It was something kind of Paul Heckingbottom used to allude to. The movement with and without the ball is superb, and it worked perfectly last night. As for the partnerships, I think that goes back to winning, that it breeds confidence. You know what your partner's going to do all the time. Like Rodon and Struick played together nearly all season. I think Struick's only missed one game. Rodon's yet to miss a game, certainly in the league, touch wood. And once you know how your teammate is playing, it just becomes natural to you. And the runs that Dan James is making from Jayden Bogle, who probably got a little bit of afters at Pride Park last night because obviously he used to play for them, he's perfect. And I think when they come into training, they come into training with a smile on their face, and they know they've got the next game ahead of them, and it just clicks sometimes. And so far for the players, it is clicking. And just to go back to Willie Nonto, he's still young. He is 21, I think, off the top of my head, 21, 22 off the top of my head. And again, with Mateo Joseph, it'll come, and they've scored very important goals in the last couple of years for Leeds, the pair of them. And I think it's very harsh to even look at sort of criticising any player at the moment, the position that we're in the league, that we're top of the league, 51 points, halfway there, and replicate the first half of the season and the second half of the season. We're playing Premier League football in August, so you go through peaks and troughs as footballers, as we've kind of alluded to on many occasions. And for me, I'm delighted where we are. The partnerships are working. The football is really enjoyable to watch. The goal's magnificent, and on we go to New Year's Day. And it'll be interesting to see how he manages the squad on Wednesday with Hull on Saturday as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of things you need to keep in mind. Lucky, possibly more rotation coming into the game on New Year's Day as well. We've got the Cup, or he might go back to his starting 11 with the Cup game against Harrogate not long after that one as well. Leeds expecting to do some business after the 4th of January if Daniel Farke's words are to be followed. But in that game yesterday, Lucky, it's been said, and it's been put in here, that even East Midlands News said Derby deserved more out of the game. Derby had a 0.18 XG in that game. They created nothing at all. All they managed to do was outbeat Leeds on fouls and tackles. So from that perspective, Leeds going away from home lucky against a side that are averaging nearly 2 goals a game in Pride Park. To keep them to 0, to keep them to 0.1 XG as well and minimise their chances, and still managed to create 5 big chances ourselves in that game. Shows a real flip of form with the away record.
Yeah, they battled Derby, but it's not enough to win you a game. You've got to have the quality moments in front of goal. That's how you win it. You score, and they didn't really create many huge chances, if any, at all. So, and we created 5 big ones. So I think the team that should have won did win. But they battled hard. I'll give them credit. They did. They made it a bit of a tussle at times. But yeah, it's that away problem is slowly going away, and this is it for me. It wasn't. I don't think it's ever that bad. We were drawing a lot. We weren't losing a lot. We weren't winning a lot. It was just too many draws. It was little moments in games, the Meslier mistake, little things like that. If 2 or 3 of them were different, we've won 4 out of 5. So it was just a bit of a how do we put teams away in a situation where it's a bit of a scrap, an horrible game? And we struggle to really do that. And you could argue we struggled to an extent at Derby until obviously Aronson finished it. But it's just, it's about the combinations as well, as you guys have been saying. I absolutely love that Bogle, Dan James, right side. I think it's an absolute joke. It is so good. They're just both so quick and direct. It's a nightmare. And Bogle knows when he's got that ball, every time he's got it, Dan James will make a run in behind. If there's no option on, go for the one in behind. Dan James is there.
Yeah.
And then on the left side, you've got the Aronson, Pirro, and Solomon triangle that we saw for the goal with Byram in there. I love that. The movement of them guys is so good. And I always said Pirro's better for me when he has the likes of Aronson and Solomon, smart movers around and give him a quick decision to make. Because his way to pass, the goal is really, really underrated. That's a really good way to pass, by the way. He's pressured by 2 defenders as well. So it's really nice that we're seeing these partnerships and combinations consistently. And look, and Junior Firpo is still a player that's got to come back into the team. There's loads of moving cogs that you look at and go, God, we've got a good team here. So I'm just happy that they're all together in this. I think you look at the team Ampadu left before he got injured compared to the team now, it's just much better.
It's very different.
The team, the impetus on going forward quicker and direct is so great. And we were saying, Joe, didn't we? Breaking down a low block, move that ball quickly. Every pass in that pass move was done quick. It was done to feet. It was quick. The movement off the ball was brilliant. And there we go. We brought the block down. It's good team, mate. We're a good team. And people say Farke's a bad coach, which I find absolutely insane. We're a very well-coached team.
Tactically inept.
Yeah, we have our issues, but tactically inept is not one of them. I don't think.
He's not. That's not one of them. No, it's not. And I've said before, and I'll be very honest, I'm not going to flip-flop and change my opinion. I don't always love Daniel Farke's brand of football, but if it's effective, we're top of the table. We have 2-point lead over second place. We have 3-point lead over third. More importantly, we have a 7-point lead over fourth now. So that's a gap that's starting to happen. It's a 3-horse race right now. It looks like that's what's going to happen. You're hoping one of the two. So Sheffield United have a really tough run, but I think tactically inept is not something that can be thrown at Daniel Farke, especially with his track record. And his teams build over the course of the season. If you look at Leeds' momentum graph over the course of the year, it's like that. And we're right where we need to be at the right time of the year. Byram making a good point about Meslier, the criticism of him as well. He's been fine. He has been fine. He will make mistakes. Goalkeepers make mistakes, but he has big moments as well. I think the save against Stoke in the first few minutes, massive. Even though it's pretty close to him, it's a very instinctive reflex save. I think it's a big save and a big moment that allows Leeds to go on and push on and win that game 2-0. So he's a young keeper. I think we said last week, stats, 200 appearances for Leeds now. Sam Byram, 200 appearances for Leeds now. Same as Gary Sprake, like second youngest after Gary Sprake. And there's a lot of similarities between both those goalkeepers. Yeah,
and I think as we alluded to on the preview for the Derby game, goalkeepers are highlighted because they do make mistakes. It's part and parcel of football, but there's not too many times he's let us down in those 200 games. And again, he made a tip over from a corner that Derby had after the goal. And it's part of the defence that's conceded the less goals of this season. So what more can I say? He's doing his job. That's what goalkeeper does, and he's keeping the goals that were needed to. And the save against Stoke was vital in the first minute, because if that goes in, it's probably a different game on Boxing Day. So I completely agree with what Pierre's saying there. So it is just highlighted, unfortunately, when you're a goalkeeper. But he's part of the team that's top of the league, and 200 appearances you don't get for 200 appearances if you make a mistake every week. So he's doing a really good job, and it'd be nice, hopefully, him to go on there and who knows, make 300 appearances in the next few years or so.
Yeah, I think you will. But another player we should talk about, Lockie, who made his 200 appearance for the club, and it could have been 500 appearances. He stuck around a bit longer when he was younger, and that's Samuel Byram. Had another very good game. He can't play 2 games in a week. He's played 3 in a week and a half. He's played 5 in a row, and he looks really solid in that left back position.
Poor Schmidt, who's like, we can't play 2 in a week. That means I'm in this time.
I'm in. 2 in a week. I had him in the team. I predicted him starting this week because I thought he won't play Byram for 3 in a row.
He was going to start. Yeah, Schmidt was buzzing. He couldn't wait until he saw the team sheet. But no, I love Sam Byram. He was my favourite player growing up. That's the era that I grew up with. I absolutely love Sam Byram playing for Leeds United. Don't care if he's 30-odd or in the teens. I absolutely love Sam Byram playing for Leeds United. Watching him as a kid, as a young man growing up, was brilliant. I watched his game when he played in fullback. Loved it. Good to see him back, and I'm just happy he's here, to be honest. I'm just glad he's here. If we do anything good, I'm glad he's part of it. I know when he first came, because he left and all that, but can you blame him at the time? The club was a mess, wasn't it? So I'm just so happy to see him come back in. And look, he's a different player to when he left, but he's still as capable in his own way. I think he's brilliant. I think he gets disrespected for his forward play. He was a big part in that goal. He's always high. Is he as expressive as Bogle? Of course he's not. He's an older man, you know. He's got a different brain on his head now. So yeah, and predominantly he's right footed, so it's a bit more difficult. But he still does his thing in the final third. It's not as effective as Bogle or as much as Bogle, but he still does his thing involved in the goal. So I just love seeing Sam Byram play for Leeds, Joe, to be honest, because he was my favourite player growing up for a period. So
well, I've a Leeds shirt with his name on the back of it before he left, and I've a Leeds shirt now when he came back as well with his name on the back. So I love Sam Byram. He's a lovely player. I should also say as well, and I'm a big believer in don't let the current stuff retroactively change your past view on things, because Guy is saying he must apologise for his view on Aronson. Your view on Aronson, Guy, was the same as a lot of other people's, mine included, at that time. And that's where that's based on all of the factors. Then the big thing was going to be for Brendan Aronson. Would he come back? Would he do the work? Has he improved? And I think he's been effective. Stats, I suppose, is the easy way to put it. He does have still weaknesses to his game, but 7 goals this season, 3 assists, 10 goal involvements. I'm saying 3 assists because the one against Stoke was taken off him, and it shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
So I'm giving him the 3. So I'm giving him 10 goal involvements in 20-odd games. He's on course to equal what Jorginho Rutter did last season. I did put a tweet out about it's amazing that he's beaten Jorginho Rutter's total goal haul for last season in half a season. Not bad for a player who doesn't do anything. And I wasn't trying to bring Georgie into that conversation. It was making personal. He was great last year and he got 6 goals. He's crap this year and he's got 7 goals already. So it doesn't really stack up. When
I think people probably made a preconceived idea on it when he came back, and I think for me he's worked his socks off since he's come back, and obviously scored on the opening day against Portsmouth, has probably helped his confidence, and he's getting his head down, and he's doing his job. And the goal last night was absolutely superb. He obviously missed one early doors in the first half, got his head back down, and I think the way I like it is that do miss chances, forget it and move on to the next one, and he took his goal absolutely brilliantly. So really pleased for Brendan, and he's part of the team that's winning every week.
Yeah, good point. Maybe Byram there, he gives us a bit more solidity at the back as well. So that's what are your thoughts on Sam Byram?
I've always loved Sam Byram. I know it's amazing to think he made his debut for Leeds against, I think it was Wolves or Shrewsbury, I can't remember which, in the League Cup tie back in 2012, and played on 1,000,001 managers. And when he left, obviously the club was completely different. It was going through a very transformation stage. Left in January 2016, and I think it was Steve Evans as manager. But you had that nucleus of Charlie Taylor, Lewis Cook, Alex Mowat, Sam Byram that was starting to come through from the academy. It hasn't quite worked out with injuries elsewhere, and he's come through, and he puts 7, 8, 9s in every week for me, and he'll always try socks off. And to get to 200 appearances, a bit like Illan Meslier, is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it could have been a lot more had he chosen to stay and not gone off, I think, to West Ham as it was in January 2016. But times change, football changes, and is in a team that is winning and is confident all the time. And as I think as someone alluded to, if he had a left foot, it'd be even better. But he's playing left back with right foot, which shows how much playing for Leeds means to him.
Yeah, he actually played the bulk of his career as a left back. If people look up, played at West Ham at left back, was even number 3 short at Norwich, so he's been left back. We are going to wrap it up there. I want to finish off with Lockie before we wrap up, and then we'll move on to the preview after this. Lockie.
I was just going to say, Jay, I was heartbroken when he left. That's all. I remember being a young lad at college, and then Sam Byram left Leeds, and I was devastated, mate. But he's back. It's fine.
Yeah, he's been a fantastic return considering he cost us nothing and he was only coming in to cover, and all of a sudden now he's had 2 seasons. He has big impact on both seasons. So great to see. Folks, there is a thumbnail on the YouTube channel for the preview for the Blackburn game. We are skipping over to that one right now. So if you want to join me in stats for the preview to the Blackburn game, drop off of this one, stick a like on your way out, pop into the Blackburn one, and I'll see you in about a minute. Lockie, thank you very much for popping in, mate.
No worries.
See you soon.
See you later, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.